chronic illness changes how much you can do, but it doesn't change who you are. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that can be really hard to process. So our personalities, our dreams, our quirks, they're all still there, but we just have to approach them differently.
Hey guys, welcome back to our first official episode of the pod. Last time you were here, we had our podcast trailer, and now we're delving into a super exciting concept. What are we talking about, Sash?
Well, today we are diving into something that really helped me at the beginning of my chronic illness journey, the spoon theory. And honestly, Abby, when I read about it for the first time, I was like, wait, like spoons, like kitchen utensils?
No, for real, it's not like we're about to talk about like some type of dinner party or the fact that I gotta do the dishes. But no, spoon theory is actually super insightful. It's a way to explain our energy levels, especially for people with chronic illnesses, disabilities, mental health conditions, etc. And it totally changed how I view my day-to-day life. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned before how it gave you the words to talk about your energy levels, which honestly is it's so powerful. And today we're going to break down what the spoon theory is, why it resonates with so many people, and how it can help anyone, not just those with chronic illnesses. Think about your energy in a new way.
Okay, that sounds like an ad moment. But we'll share some of our own experiences, our spoon-related moments, and a few tips on how to manage your spoons like a pro. So let's just get into it. Let's start with the basics. Sasha, how would you describe the spoon theory to someone who's like never heard of it, like they're brand new?
Well, first of all, we have to talk about where it comes from. The spoon theory was created by a beautiful woman named Christine Miserandino, and I hope I said that right. But she has lupus, and she was trying to explain what it's like to live with a chronic illness to a friend while they were at a diner. And she like grabbed a handful of spoons to use as a visual metaphor, and it kind of stuck. And so the spoons represented her energy for any given day.
Exactly. So, like, imagine you start the day with a certain number of spoons. Say you have like 10 spoons, and every activity you do, getting out of the bed, making breakfast, taking a shower, eating, it costs you like a
Living.
spoon, two, or in my case, like 10. Literally, it's so exhausting just existing. And for someone with a chronic illness, even seemingly simple tasks will use up more spoons than they do for someone who's healthy.
And once you run out of spoons, you have to make a choice. Do I call it quits for today, or am I going to borrow spoons from tomorrow? Because there ain't no magical spoon delivery service.
hmm Unless DoorDash wants to get into the chronic illness support business, you know?
Honestly, shout out to DoorDash. Somebody should actually pitch that to DoorDash, like Spoon Dash, energy delivered.
Yeah, but like seriously, spoon theory helps people explain why on some days they can do more and others they have to say no to things, like even those things that seem easy to someone else. Also, let's talk about it. Borrowing spoons for tomorrow is such a joke. That is not a thing. Listen.
Honestly, it's a scam though, for real though, because like I have borrowed spoons from tomorrow and I do feel it. So Abby, when did you first come across the spoon theory?
Okay, so I remember exactly. I had a business and I was trying to explain to my intern about it, what it was like running a chronic illness. I mean, wait, no, running a business with a chronic illness. I have chronic illness, which means my body uses up spoons faster than like your average person. That's what I was trying to tell her. A couple weeks beforehand, I found like the Spoon Theory YouTube video, and I was like, bro, this is such a logical explanation of what it's like to have zero energy with a chronic illness and like how we get zapped, you know? So I was breaking it down to her. I found it on the YouTube video and then I explained it to her, and she was like mind blown with me.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I discovered it for the first time, I think I was like mentally spiraling because like all of my all of my symptoms were like newish.
So
And so I was
relatable.
like scrolling through a bunch of like chronic illness Pinterest posts. And like I came across this post about the spoon theory and I clicked on it. There's this really cool picture. And I had this light bulb moment. And it really just helped me digest everything that was going on. And like it helped me explain how to better manage my energy. And like even people without chronic illnesses can hit that spoon limit if they're stressed or overwhelmed.
Right, and I mentioned in the trailer that not everyone who's a spoonie has a chronic illness, but
That's
everyone who
right.
has a chronic illness is a spoonie. And this is the episode where we're breaking that down. So,
Hmm.
spoon theory can apply to mental health too. People with anxiety, depression, ADHD, they all mess with your spoon supply, okay? For example, for someone who has general anxiety disorder or some other severe type of anxiety, you will use more spoons just trying to leave the house than someone who doesn't have anxiety.
Bro, don't I know it? And like people don't see that invisible cost. Like they only notice when you say no to plans or like need extra breaks, but they don't know where that's coming from. And that can be really frustrating for
Right, because
people
you
on
could
both
feel like
sides,
a
actually.
flaky, right, you could feel like a flaky friend. So let's talk about managing your spoons, okay? It's a survival skill. One thing
For
that
sure.
helps me is like prioritizing. Like if I know I have a busy day, I will plan today to conserve spoons. Let me fix that. I try to conserve spoons.
Exactly.
Um,
Emphasis on try.
yes.
It is not an exact science, you guys.
Literally. Like I will maybe skip something that is majorly draining. For example, I just bathed my service dog today after a month, and like she's in training,
Bro.
my puppy. But like, and that probably sounds nasty, but let me be so for real with you guys. Between clinical rotations and midterms and my life, like a major flare up, like sent me to the like urgent care. I was not okay, okay? So, yeah, I just bathed her today because that was majorly draining and I had to wait for like a spoon or two just to be able to get that done. Um,
Mhm.
but let's just be so for real. Everything in my life at this point with my illness drains me of minimum 2 spoons. Like getting up, I think I use 2 spoons just getting out of the bed.
I totally relate to that on a deep personal level. And like when it comes to like planning on like conserving spoons and stuff, I've started using a version of that too, where like I ask myself, like I weigh my options. Like, am I really needing to spend my spoons on this specific activity right now? Because I have a really bad habit sometimes of overcommitting and then crashing later. It's
That's
like
my
this
life.
hamster wheel, yeah, of like, ooh, I have a little bit of energy. Let me just spend it all right now, and then you end up paying for it later.
Exactly. And for folks who have chronic illnesses, for us, learning to say no is spoon saving 101. And so for
Hmm.
me, being the introverted INTJ that I am, I have a easy time saying no to things that I'm like, I don't really care about that. But if it's something that I really love, um, literally it's a hard time for me to say no. If it's something social, I don't care. But if it's like work related, like ministry
Introvert.
involvement, like some type of nonprofit stuff, I'm like, oh, can I fit it in? Is there a way I can fit it in? Because I do like, if you're gonna speak to me in my language, it's gonna be hard for me to say no. But I've learned a lot lately, like saying I love to, but I can't right now has been a total game changer. And after years of canceling plans with friends, that I've been planning for months, I still feel bad. Like I was planning to meet up with my friend who's been in a really rough patch to go do some pottery with her, and it's supposed to do it in like January, like literally a month ago, and I had to cancel, and I still haven't rescheduled because I haven't had a good enough day that I felt like I could do that. And I felt horrible. Like I was so mad about it. Um, and unless I'm like hardcore flaring, like it's so obvious, I still feel bad. Like, it's it's
Right.
it's a struggle, guys.
It really is a struggle. I'm man, and I am the extrovert between the two of us. So like I'm not like doing a comparison or anything, but like it's just that much harder for me, okay? You know what I'm saying? Because
No,
like
it
I
is.
want to be out there I want to be out there with the people. Like, I got so many invites to like church vespers and things, and it's really hard when they're in person to say no because like they'll be coming up to me like, "Ooh, they saw me at church and like, Sash, you want to come to like this vespers?" And I'm like, "You have no idea how absolutely drained I am being here right now. I wish, but like I tell them I will try. I will try next time. Spoon
Majority of the time
theory.
you go. I'm like, girl, aren't you dying?
I've been it's tough out here, you
Mm.
guys. It's tough. Saying no is hard, okay? Just being so for real. Saying no is hard. But like the spoon theory isn't just about energy loss, right? We can also do things to like regain spoons, kind of like a video game.
Add the coins. Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm deep in my Minecraft era.
cheating. So yesterday I was so low on spoons. I was like the migraine flare was coming on. I was struggling, okay? And we can also talk about the fact that earlier in the morning I had to go do some nonprofit work. It only took me like a couple hours between like 11 and 2, but I was introvert drained and then I was flaring and then I was just like low on spoons from the entire week because I had clinical rotations. So I crashed for 15 hours. I literally crashed for 15 hours. I woke up for maybe like 30 minutes in between and then just fell right back asleep. I was on FaceTime with Sasha for like all the time. I was just sleeping. Um,
Honestly, most of our FaceTime calls are just me watching her sleep.
yeah, and it sounds so weird, but like literally, mind you, we're on two different time zones, so
Yes.
like yeah, but immediately I used the two spoons that I got back to bathe Eleanor, my service dog. So I used them up, but you see, crashing, it helped me, okay? It helped me.
Right. It's the crashing and then the gaining the spoon and crashing and gaining a spoon. It's a vicious cycle, y'all. So for me, managing spoons as a stay-at-home wife and as a music teacher, shout out to my music teachers, people in education. Okay. That means getting really intentional with my schedule. So I used to try to do everything all at once. Literally, I was the worst. I would be doing housework, errands, lesson planning, all of that stuff all in one day. And I would be at the end of the day talking to Abby, like, I don't know why I'm like so dead. She'd be like, why are you trying to do all the things? So now I break those tasks like into smaller bits and chunks, and it gives me like time to rest between tasks. And I also communicate with my husband about what I need, what help I need. And like he's really good at asking me because I do not ask for help.
She
Like
doesn't.
I'm really bad at that. I'm superwoman. But like he's really good about like getting up in my face and being like, Sash, you need to like sit down. Is there anything that I can do to help you? And I'm like, okay, yes, please make me eggs. But I love eggs, guys.
Yeah, I'm not married, but all of what you said makes so much sense. For me, I'm a STEM major, pre-med. So on its own, that's like literally it's draining. And it drains my entire soul because it's mental, physical, and then I'm a chronic illness warrior with disability. Like guys, it's literally it's a lot. And there's a lot of people time and I'm an introvert, so it's like, oh. Anyways, I have clinical rounds, I have complex topics to study, attending labs, flaring medical appointments, all of that, battling the brain fog, fighting with professors for accommodations, and trying on top of all of that to stay on top of my assignments. It takes a lot of spoons. I like to use a lot of methods like the Pomodoro technique. Google Calendar is my best friend. ChatGPT is my best friend, helping me make like my plans because honestly, I don't have spoons to like sit there and write things out a lot of times. So I'll have like ChatGPT give it a prompt and say like, can you organize my day? Or I do a lot of ADHD friendly time blocking, and sleep on my 5 to 10 minute breaks. Honestly, though, I've had to learn to let go of perfectionism, and it's not because I'm not still a perfectionist. It's just because I genuinely have been in this area of my life where I cannot, like, I literally can't. Like, what I get is what I get. I still got A's, but it's a struggle. And sometimes for me, at least in this phase of my life, I'm like on a huge deficit where I can't recover. And we'll talk about it in another episode, but it's actually because of some slight negligence on a physician's side, where the medication they gave me kind of damaged me and I haven't recovered. But
That was a
I'm
brutal time
doing the
period.
spoons, doing the best I have with the spoons that I have and praying, I get through.
Sending up their prayers. Um, Abby is still trying to process just how useful this is. Like, we've had multiple conversations about this, but you guys, I love my spoon management apps. Can we just talk about the fact that there is an app for everything? Let's talk about that.
Mm.
Um, yeah, spoon management apps. So I've used a couple different ones, but my favorite by far is this app called Spoony Day. And it's really cool because it has this meter on the side, like when you open it up. It's a really simple like app layout format type thing, but it's got this little meter where every time you put in a task, it like deducts a spoon. So like you can actually see it go down. You're like, oop, there goes my energy. But you can also you can also add things that'll like give you back a spoon. So like you can see just like the meter going up and down and up and down. But there are a couple other good ones to check out. Gentler Streak is another good energy visualizing app, if you will. Um, Visible pacing for illness. I've seen a lot of ads for Visible in on Instagram. It's a good one. You can get the armband for it, but you can also use it without the armband, and it works really well. And then there's also an app called Daily Spoons, and it looks like it functions similarly to Spoony Day. So
Hmm.
there's a couple of
Mm.
tools there for that.
I'm listening and I'm not judging, but I'm still just trying to figure out the point. Like, I really am. But
Some
it's okay,
people
I'll get
need to
there.
see the gas meter go down, okay? Some people need to see it.
Okay, okay, okay. I'm with you. I'm kind of with you in the studio. 50%. Okay, 50%.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, one thing spoon theory has made me think about was my like personal core values. Like when your energy is limited, you have to get super clear on what actually matters to you because energy limiting, you don't have infinite amounts of energy, you can't do all the things. Okay. And I realized that I value connection and creativity. So instead of spending all my spoons on driving to events and like going to see my friends every single time that they ask me to come out, I'll have them come to me.
That's so true. I do that too sometimes. I'm an introvert, so I don't mind skipping the social stuff. However, my go-getter self wants me to do all the things, guys, like literally all the things. And I've had to check in with my core values, one of them being rest. And lately, as of 2025, I'm like, I need to stop running on a deficit 24/7. Helps me let go of the stuff that don't actually align with who I am or what's not helping me to reach my end goal at this stage in life. And so I am a very logical person. And so I'm like, okay, is this helping me accomplish my goal, what I'm doing in my life right now? Specifically, it's like a pre-med major, what I may do with my extracurriculars, etc. No, you're out. And that's literally how I evaluate. I'm just like, this is not helping me. Goodbye.
Right. And like that is so huge because chronic illness changes how much you can do, but it doesn't change who you are. And sometimes
hmm
that can be really hard to like, I can't think of the word, but like,
Process.
yeah, process. Thank you. So, like, our personalities, our dreams, our quirks, they're all still there, but we just have to approach them differently.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about why spoon theory even matters for like people who don't have a chronic illness, because this is not just a podcast for our spoonies and chronic illness people. We also want to speak to the people who don't have a chronic illness, who know somebody who does, who are like caretakers for people who are. We love our caretakers. I think it's such a helpful way to understand that everyone has limits, even if their spoons are usually more plentiful.
Right. Burnout is a spoon drain. Okay. Stress, parenting, big life
Speak,
changes,
reach. Yes.
all of the stuff, those all use spoons too. And I think understanding spoon theory will help us be more compassionate with ourselves and others. And
Hmm.
that's a big one.
Right, exactly. Like instead of pushing through exhaustion, like we're so inclined to do, we can ask ourselves, how many spoons do I actually have today? Like checking in on yourself and like, what do I need or want to spend them on? Because we sometimes get so like deep in the weeds of all the things that we need to do, we forget about all the things that we actually want to do. So, connecting all of that together and, deciding on needs and wants, how you're going to spend your spoons.
Really, for real, yeah. And spoon theory, I feel like gives most of us permission to rest without guilt. Um, emphasis on most of us because I feel like, man, I remember talking to one of my friends one day and I was resting, quote, quote. And I was like, yeah, nah, I was just chilling. He was like, you're chilling? I'm like, yeah, no. And he's like, but I thought you said you had a meeting. I'm like, yeah, I was laying down and like doing the meeting and taking the notes for the meeting and meeting with some people. He's like, that's not chilling, Abby. Like chilling is like
That's
I'm
not chill.
watching a movie and chilling. It's like, it's my version of chilling. So like nowadays, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm just chilling. He's like, oh, so what were you doing? And I'm just like, bruh. So my
What are you
version of chilling
actually
is
doing?
like, yeah, like I'm laying down, but like I'm doing something. And I've learned lately to like try to rest.
Right.
But I like I have so much to do sometimes that like unless I'm like dead, I am
Mhm.
trying to do something and like Sasha can attest to that. But
Right.
it helps people who don't experience chronic illness try to understand what their loved ones may be going through because you may be somebody who doesn't have chronic illness yourself, but your wife, your significant other, someone that's important in your life does. Maybe someone that you know in a professional capacity has a chronic
Mhm.
illness. And if you comprehend or like can process, what the spoon theory is and understand it, you can understand, hey, this is why this work meeting for them is way more draining than it is for myself or another colleague. Or this is why for them getting up takes so much more time and they prefer to do activities after 11 a.m. than at 8 a.m. in the morning. It's a lot.
Right. All right. So, quick recap. Spoon theory helps explain energy levels, especially for people with chronic illnesses, by comparing energy to a limited supply of spoons. And every task costs a spoon. And once you're out, you're out.
Mm-hmm. And whether or not you have a chronic condition or not, spoon theory can help you think about your energy levels more intentionally.
Exactly. And if you know someone who mentions spoons in a non-kitchen context, maybe take a moment to ask them about it. You might learn about what they're navigating.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for spending your time listening to us. Hopefully, it was helpful. Don't forget to follow, like, share, subscribe, whatever word you choose to use on all the platforms: Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Pod, at Surviving on Spoons. Remember, we made it so simple for all the people out there. And if you know anyone who would like to be featured on our podcast or who want to be a guest, just drop us an email at survivingonspoons@gmail.com.
Okay, bro. I need to go protect my last half spoon for the day. I need to lay down.
Girl, for real, same. You do that, and I'm gonna go eat.
Bye, guys.
Bye.